To the top right of the map in red, we have the player for Team MVP 01 in the GSL Up and Down Group D. He is
MVP Sniper.
GSL champion currently.
To the bottom left, we have his opponent in his first game in this group at the Up and Downs. This is
Byun Prime.
Byun having a very unfortunate end to his run in Code A. He was one best of 3 away from taking the Code S spot. It was Gumiho instead who just all-in'd him to death and won the series 2-0 to knock Byun to the Up and Downs. It was a pretty spectacular play by Gumiho as well.
What's quite funny is that both of these players lost to Gumiho recently. You talked about Byun in the match against Gumiho that they played in the 3rd round of Code A. In Code S, Sniper lost also to the strong FXO Terran player. He took one map of Gumiho, but it was Gumiho who won the best of 3, and this was the reason why Sniper had to go to the to Code A in the first place. So that was very unfortunate for the GSL champion. He also lost to the second Terran player that he faced in this group. He lost to Bomber without taking a single map. And he broke this curse against Terran when he finally defeated Maru in the first round. But still, this is not not Sniper's best matchup. Against Terran, he's a little bit shaky, which is surprising given that most Zerg players have a really strong matchup against Terran. For Byun, on the other hand, he is so-so in this matchup, roughly a 50% win ratio against Zerg. Has been doing fairly well recently, but I feel this is going to be a match on eye level.
Yeah. Byun is a player who doesn't show any glaring weaknesses in his play. Sometimes you watch him play, he just isn't quite... It's almost like he's hit his plateau. He's always just in the 3rd round of Code A, in the 1st round of Code S, maybe around that area. He doesn't always impress, but he's always around.
Yeah. We have now the expansion for Byun, and Daybreak is a map where we either see very, I would say, early mid-game aggression by a Zerg player who tries to go for Ling Leader Baneling, which is these days very common since the Infestors, and especially the Infestor Terrans, were a little bit nerfed. They are a bit weaker than they were before. But if that does not kill the Terran player, the Terran doesn't decide to go into a big push on 2 bases, we usually have a really long game on this map. It's a map where you will always, or very often, see a split map between the 2 players.
Yeah, very true. And we'll see if that occurs once again here. Byun sticking around the base a little bit longer, will finally leave. Byun is a player who oftentimes does that timing that we've been seeing a few more players do. We saw this yesterday quite a bit, where you attack with multiple barracks at the Zerg's 3rd base and hope that he doesn't have enough lings, or if he doesn't make his Baneling nest, you can punish him there. Sometimes you even try to bunker before you do the attack. And sometimes you even wait for combat shields. There's a few different variations, and Byun does this a lot. We'll see if he does it again against Sniper.
Well, he heads to the 3rd command center now, so plays it a bit more greedy this time. Keeps the Marine to keep the Overlord at bay, making sure that there were no scouting information for Sniper. Sniper, on the other hand, is also trying to go... Is he going into another base at this point? He's already moving out with the drone, but only to saturate the natural.
Yeah, no 3rd just yet from him. Going into 4 Queens. This is a matchup where Byun, going to this 3rd command center, is actually going to have to play against Sniper, the GSL champion, in a macro game. This is going to really set the pace for him going into the group, because if you can beat somebody like Sniper in a macro game, it's going to give you a lot of confidence and momentum going into the group. It's even going to scare the people around you.
Yeah. All of these players want to go back to Code S, especially Sniper. He doesn't want to pull a Jagji. Jagji, a very strong player for Nesosa, but after he won the GSL championship and took Code S, he suddenly disappeared completely. He fell out of Code S into Code A and then into Code B. He's making a little bit of a reappearance now and looked very strong in the GSTL matches that we had in Heart of the Swarm, but still he's definitely not where he wants to be. And this is one of the fates that Sniper tries to avoid here. The same happened to Seed, and it's always very annoying if you are one of those players that has a huge accomplishment, a huge achievement, and suddenly you are completely down and go try to cook.
You don't want to be called a one-hit wonder. You don't want to be a fruit dealer. You just want to be a consistent player, and you want everyone to respect you as one. We could see Byun start the starport right here. But no, he's actually going to go into double factory Hellions. Could have added the starport as well, but it looks like he just wants to use that tech lab for Blue Flame.
Double factory is always very, very tricky. It's a build where you try to hide what you're doing, and if you surprise your opponent, you can do so much damage, it's insane. You can actually decide the game immediately. But on the other hand, if you are scouted and your opponent, the Zerg, sets up a nice wall, then you might not do any damage at all. Gain the map control for a little bit, but just not accomplish anything.
Well, turns out Sniper is so good at defending Hellion harassment like this off multiple barracks on this map that he's made girls cry doing it, in fact, in the GSTL. So he's got some experience.
Wasn't it actually Byun against Jaedong that we had in the last Up and Downs on Cloud Kingdom? Where Jaedong really looked very, very dominant, and suddenly all those Hellions of Byun ran into the natural, took down 40 Harvesters, and the game was basically over.
Yes, it's absolutely correct. I remember this game very well.
It's basically what Byun is trying to do again. Blue Flame is now coming up, and what we have for Sniper is a Baneling Nest that can also help him against Hellions, depending on how he engages. If he has, for example, a high ground against low ground Hellions that try to approach the ramp. But he also goes into the lair tech, so that will give him a few options against Hellions. The big question is just, will he get an Overseer, will he see what's happening here, or will he be completely blindsided by this?
Well, the Hellions hold the Watchtower for a little bit, and then he moves in. Now he sees only 3. And seeing only 3 doesn't make you overreact. It doesn't make you feel anything is different, because that's what you normally see anyways.
Exactly.
But think about it this way, though. If you see only 3, you're like, wait a minute, that should actually be 4 or 2, but not 3. That doesn't make sense. And if he's really thinking, he might realize that.
We had for a second on screen the Zergling was running into the bottom left, and he saw all those Hellions, the additional ones. Now we have the Roach Warren immediately being built. We have 2 Spine Crawlers. He should actually, I would actually really like it if he adds a few additional Evolution Chambers just to block off completely.
Well, the Banelings here are going to be quite useful if he can get this around. And the Queens are already ready, but can he protect the drones? Blue Flame is ready.
Yeah.
And he can kite the Banelings. The Queens are the damage dealers here.
He's trying to kite the Banelings. He's trying to do as much damage as possible. So far, the Hellions did not achieve too much. They took down Zerglings, which will cost him lava, but they didn't actually do damage to the economy. Nice block at the third, by the way. We just saw that a second ago with the creep spread here. He is able to delay the third command center.
Yeah, Byun is trying to do all he can, but Sniper is reacting very quickly. With his creep spread, he sees the Hellions, which angle they're coming from. He's always able to get into the right direction at the right time. Starts an Infestation Pit with the Spire, so he's teching pretty fast here, getting 2-2 upgrades as well, just slightly ahead of Byun.
I really like the defense of Sniper. He holds very well.
But until now.
This is the one thing that you try to avoid, and it always happens. It drives me crazy, but not as crazy as Sniper. He's probably really mad now that this happened. Well, he's losing so many Harvesters already.
He loses a lot of Harvesters and a lot of Lings here, but it could have been worse.
Yeah, it could have been worse, that's true.
You know, not much worse, but it could have been. He will actually deflect this, and in total, Byun was able to kill 10 Harvesters. You know, it's not some outrageous number like 18.
Yeah.
It's still annoying, though.
It's definitely true, but it's just something that costs him a lot of mining time, that costs him Harvesters. He has to completely focus on this, and it should just not happen. You know the Hellions are there, you have the creep spread, you have the vision, and you set up a wall at your natural that you can complete with just a queen or 2. So when he sees this on a minimap, and when the Hellions are in the game, you should always pay attention to the minimap. He should have seen this. So that was definitely a mistake by Sniper. Doesn't end up losing him the game, but it definitely puts him in an awkward situation.
Yeah, he does not feel comfortable with this. He lost so many Lings too that cost him a lot of larva, and when you want to rebuild your drones and you lose all your Lings, then you don't have Lings to defend anymore. You have to make a choice.
The thing is, I just complimented Sniper on his defense, but now he is in a bit of a bad spot, and he's probably the angriest person of all. He knew that at the beginning he did very, very well against this build. He didn't suffer any drone losses at all, and then when he thought, okay, I did well, there's nothing I have to be afraid of right now, suddenly those Hellions get in the main base, and yeah.
Yeah, Byun is even on supply. He's even in Harvesters. He's getting 2-2 out. It's a little bit behind Sniper because Sniper hit his upgrades a little bit better, but Byun's Muta defense is already prepared, and going into the mid-game here, Byun has a distinct advantage just because of that Hellion harass.
Yep. He's on 3 bases. He has 3 bases. He's going into +2/+2 a little bit later than Sniper, but it should still be okay for him.
And they're extremely secure 3 bases. There's not much Sniper can do. He can't poke with the mutas. There's not Baneling timing he has anymore because he had to use all his larva to remake drones. Byun is even preparing a wall at his 3rd. He's taking a supply lead now. The issues for Byun are twofold now. There's only 2 things he has to worry about. It's the 4th base at the bottom right and the hive tech that's coming out.
Yeah. He has to find the timing to move out here, and what he would like to do is just to wait for 3-3 and maybe at least wait for 2-2 and then go move out. But at this point, we could actually see a drop play for him. I would love him to just get one Viking to get rid of all these overlords that are in the vicinity. He should know by now that they are there. The problem for him is that it's a little bit too late. You can't get the Viking at this point. There are already Mutalisks on the map, so if you build the Viking now, then the Mutalisks will take care of it. If you go for a Viking, you need to do that earlier before the Spire attack is done.
Yeah, usually tougher to do that when you go for a Hellion build, but he could have added it. Regardless, though, like you said, the Muse are going to make drop play difficult, but 1 or 2 drops might get through, and that would give Byun a little bit more map presence here. These Marines, as it is, are actually way too far out. If Sniper had known the siege tanks were so far away, he would have just killed those.
Yeah. We have now really this mid-game with Ling Muta Baneling. You can see that with 11 Mutalisks, Sniper is not committing too much to it. He wants to go into the Hive Tech now and then most likely into the Greater Spire. But the drop play has started. It's always tricky to pull it off against Mutalisks, but Byun has to do something.
Yeah, and that's the thing, that's what I was saying, just 1 or 2 drops even though the Muse are out, because this gives him map control for just a second. And he clears up some of the tubers in the middle of the map.
Yeah, you try to have 2 drops at the same time so that the Mutalisk can only take care of 1. You need to put some pressure onto the Zerg. If you let him do whatever he wants to do, then he is going to spread his creep all across the map towards your base. He's going to take a 4th, a 5th, and maybe even the 6th base. He has all the tech, all the resources that he needs. So this is very, very tricky. Byun is therefore trying to hold his own 4th while he's attacking at the bottom right with his drop that he just did.
Oh no, this 3rd base is really exposed. Byun needs to get his units over there right away. Sniper hesitating for the attack, though. This gives Byun a lot more time, and he actually has to leave. He splits his forces. Really nice splitting by Sniper. He's going to approach at a good angle here, but there's so many siege tanks.
Oh, those Banelings, most of them die to the siege tank fire, to the planetary. Really well done here by Byun.
Yeah, planetary finishes just in time here, trying to repair it. Will he get the planetary? I think he actually might.
I think he will. I think he just will get it. The SCVs, they are dying. There are no forces anymore. Bottom right is suddenly being attacked by this drop that we saw earlier. But still, we have now a supply lead just for a few seconds for Byun. Sniper is trying to use his bank now. He has a bit of a problem with his lava, but he is looking really strong.
Yep, drop will finally be cleaned up. Killing that 4th base was critical for Sniper. He had an opportunity to attack the 3rd, decided to go for the 4th instead. He has Infestors out now, 5 of them, and that's going to be really helpful. He's also got the Greater Spire, as mentioned, ready.
The thing really is, it was a close attack. At first it looked like the victor was definitely Byun. And if you just look at the resources lost, they are now dead even. So at this point, both of them are heading into the last set of upgrades, into 3-3. The Hive Tech was done really early for Sniper. And he's also going now into additional Creep Spurt, Brood Lords, having a few Spinecrawlers just to make sure that drop play is not going to be an issue.
Byun's so careful with his push through the middle here. And he's even going for a secondary attack to the south to clear those tumors. And Sniper could get a little bit trapped here with his army up at the top there. Byun goes into the hatchery in the middle. How will Sniper respond? He can't just easily go down that ramp. He has to go down carefully.
The Broodlords are ready now, and we didn't have additional starports for Byun. This is definitely going to be an issue for him. First of all, we have him to deal with those Banelings.
See, he wasn't very careful there. He lost a lot of those Banelings. He was looking at something else, and his army just went for the attack.
You know what he's looking at now? He's looking at a lot of Broodlords, and this is why he's trying to move back, but he exposes the siege tanks.
Yeah, Byun moved his Marines back, but he did not move the tanks. They all get trapped here. Doesn't even need to fungal, but he targets down some of these Infestors as he's on his way out.
And if he isn't careful, then another fungal will hit the Marines. But he's just able to escape into the safety of the rest of his siege tanks.
Sniper is just one step ahead with his tech. The first Vikings are coming out now. The Broodlords are already sieging up here. He needs the Infestor support for them. Here come the Infestors.
He might be able to really do something with those additional starports, but for now it's just a lot of Broodlords against no anti-air except those Marines, and they are endangered as soon as they walk forward because of the Infestors that we have here.
And he can't see down that pathway. He doesn't really have a lot of vision there. The Watchtower helps. 12 more Banelings on the way, and Sniper's preparing for that transition into Ultras after his opponent commits the Vikings, and oh no, these Marines get trapped.
This is of course always the classic attempt that you go for. Start with the Broodlords, and if you have the economy, switch into the Ultralisks later on. Your opponent will most likely overproduce Vikings, and then without any additional Marauders, your Ultralisks will have a really good day, if they have the support with Infestors.
Yeah. Byun is maxed again. He's making 2 command centers. He's got the base at the top left he could try to take, but before he can do anything like that, he needs to win an engagement. He needs to get some form of control over the map. good angle on his Vikings. There's no Corruptors to help out. Now they come down.
The
And
Corruptors
Mutas
are
as
here.
well.
Mutalisks too have to be careful of the Marines though. This is starting to get really into this split game that we talked about earlier when we started this match. Another siege tank line sieging up, but here comes the Zerg player trying to close the game. A nice split here against the Baneling. Really well done.
That was a battle-changing split, but it's not battle-changing enough. The Broodlord's come in here. This time he doesn't have a planetary. He's losing his Vikings here.
He took down a few of the Infestors, but is it going to be enough? The anti-air, this is the crucial point. 5 Brood Wars are still remaining, but now we have the drop in the main base, and this is doing so much right now. He could take down all the Queens.
And he's getting the Lings here. This is not very larva useful for Sniper. He's got 13 larva left right now, but still.
He's getting a lot more than only the Lings Wolf. He's already taking down the Queens.
Here come those Corruptors. The Broodlord's coming back as well. And he will clean this up, but that was a really efficient trade for Byun. That's exactly what he needed to now just calm down and get his production back up. He needed a few production cycles to be able to hold this 4th base.
Exactly. He was not only able to take down Queens and kill a lot of Zerglings, which cost Sniper a lot of lava, but he also bought himself enough time to get these units out there. Now he's at 160 supply against 190. But Broodlords are not the only thing that he has to worry about anymore. We have the production of the first few Ultralisks. Marauders are also part of Byun's composition now, but he is still 40 supply behind his opponent.
Yeah. 40 supply down here, but the Broodlord count is going to start to diminish with really good kiting. And he doesn't have a lot of Corruptors here. The Infestors are nowhere nearby. The Ultra Switch, I don't think he has enough Ultras here.
All the Ultras are leading the charge, and the Banelings are still a threat, rolling in now, taking down the Marines. The Ultralisk covering them here, taking the hits of the siege tanks, and the siege tanks are now all gone. Suddenly, we have Sniper way ahead in supply. He's up 50 supply already, and everything is exposed.
Yeah, you know, those Baneling hits were so good that, you know, ordinarily I feel the Ultras would not have been able to do as much damage. The Vikings now feeling a bit useless. And this is that switch we were talking about earlier. If your opponent commits to Vikings and you get a good switch to Ultras, then what is your opponent going to do?
These Fungals are perfect for him. Fungals the SCVs, takes down the worker lines. The Ultralisk taking the shots here while the Banelings roll in. This is exactly what Sniper was aiming for the entire time. He's ahead 100 supply. I love the usage of the Vikings here, but it's just too little too late.
It's desperate, you know. He doesn't have any other use for them, so he might as well do this. It's the best thing he could be doing with them.
It's
going to kill
move.
a lot of drones, but it's just the game is already over.
Now that he doesn't need them anymore to deal with Broodlords, it's a good move, but it's just a little bit too late. He did miss the switch into Ultralisk. He couldn't deal with it. And even though he fought very valiantly before and took a couple of really good engagements, it's just way too much. Sniper is showing his strength here.
Yep. Sniper crushes through the last of these forces. He's on the ramp, but GG.
GG. Sniper takes the second game that he plays today. And then the first game for Byun, he is not successful. Now 0-1 in the group.
The Ultra Switch really got him there. He was always one step behind in tech. And even those Ultras that came out with a great split of Byun, it was just simply, he was down about 40 to 50 supply, and eventually there are just too many Banelings. Even if you split perfectly against them, the Ultras are going to catch up with you.
Exactly. So early on, Sniper with a loss against Flying, now with a win against Byun. He's 1-1 in the group. First 3 games have been played, and we are taking a 5-minute break before we head into our next match, which is going to be Flying versus Su. The 2 Casper players here will have to fight it out. Both of them were able, well actually no, Flying was able to win his first game. Su on the other hand, he lost to Byung, so this is going to be a very crucial match for Su. And for Flying, it's his second game against Zerg. So we're going to find out if Sniper is going to be his only Zerg victim today, or if Su is following the fate of the GSL champion. We see you guys in 5 when we are heading into the next set of matches here at the GSL Up and Downs Group E.